Hello. I think you're on mute there, Lizeth. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me? Oh, I can hear you.
At all.
All right. What the heck? Can you hear me now? Hello. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Lizeth can't hear me for some reason. We'll give it a few more minutes, see who comes in here. How's everybody doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
Oh, tremendo.
Whoa. Not sure what that was, but whoa. All right, we'll give it just a couple of more minutes here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Glad everybody's here and looking well so far. Hopefully everybody's feeling good too. A dangerous time to be out these days. I say, Danielle, I can see the top of your head. Now I can see you. And you don't have to be on camera or anything if you don't want to be. That certainly is completely optional. I figure you'd want to see my face to see if I'm okay, but. Lizeth, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
I'm not a geeky person, so I needed headphones.
That's okay. I thought it was my end. I'm checking all my connections and seeing if everything was looking good and making sure I'm off mute.
No, it was me. But I'm all set now.
Sounds like what I usually said in a relationship. It's not you, it's me.
Well, this time it was me.
All right. Well, we got 18 on so far. Pretty happy with that number. So let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully everyone had a chance to look at what I sent you an email and posted on the D2L. I get a thumbs up if you're on camera and you saw it, read it. Okay. So if our first part tonight, we'll go over that just to make sure we're on the same page and talk about expectations and any questions you may have about those. So let me share my screen, and I have the up somewhere here. Where the heck is it? That's not it. I just have to find it. That's all. And I had it up here before. Let me move it over. Let's see what the problem is here. I love technology, right? It's always something. So let's see here. Where is my stuff at? Is that it? No, that's a PowerPoint. That's a notepad. That's Paint. Oh boy, screen 2. I think that's it. Let's try that. All right, are you seeing my plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Whew. Didn't show me that in the mini window, so I was freaking out a little bit there. All right, so here's the plan. For lectures, we're going to do YouTube videos. So hopefully everyone's had a chance to check out my YouTube channel. There isn't really much posted on there except stuff from other class, because at 8 o'clock tonight, I've got our videos. I think I have 5 of them for our first bit here going live at that time. So I didn't want you to get a preview ahead of time before class started. So at 8 o'clock, if we end before that, great, I guess. But at 8 o'clock, they should all go live on there. So they're each labeled by the section. So you should see MAT121 and then 3.4 and 4 toolbox and 4.1. So they're not very long videos, but this is my plan. And, you know, we'll try this for a couple of weeks and see if this works. And if it doesn't, then we'll adjust and we'll try something different. So, you know, I was advised to stay off of Zoom for my lectures simply because Zoom, you know, you only get 40 minutes. And, you know, the anticipation apparently of the load on the network has everybody running scared a little bit. So I thought, you know, if we use it for Q&A and something happens, I guess we're not, you know, it won't be too bad that way. So that's why I'm not doing the lectures that way. But we'll see if it changes. You know, maybe we will use it this way and do a couple different things. But let's try the videos first. And if they don't work, then they don't work. So I do want to hear your feedback next week, and we'll hear, you know, how you thought of them. But I thought the one advantage that at least the bite-sized videos offers is that you can watch a video, you can try some homework. If it doesn't take, you can watch the video again and try some more homework. So that's kind of the way I've done it. And we'll talk about that when it comes to homework here in just a second, sort of how I've designed it. So, but yeah, we'll try to do this for Q&A. So, you know, it does have a nice whiteboard feature that I can utilize, and I have a pen that I can write with, and you'll see it on screen. So it'll be just like having the whiteboard in the room, except it'll be closer to you as some of you sit in the back. Anyway, but that's the plan for that. All right. So attendance, I'll still take attendance. It is important. We'll see how long that lasts as being important anyway. But I will take it every week here. So I will look at the, do a screenshot here, and I'll just get it later. I'll try to update it every week on D2L so you can follow along. If for some reason you're thinking I didn't grab you or something, you can go look at the D2L anytime and say, hey, did he catch my attendance for this week? Because it matters now, or it's always mattered, but it still matters. So homework, I don't care about homework anymore. I mean, I really don't. There's so many of you, and you could be scanning and sending stuff to me forever, and I could be reading it forever, and I just didn't want to do that. So what I did was, any homework that you already done all the way through whatever we had up at, you know, at least to the last test, I recorded it and put it in D2L, and I basically finalized it. So if you're missing some assignments, and I mean, there's a chance to make those up. I didn't want to give you not a chance to make them up, but technically they are late. So you make them, I'll give you half credit for any assignments you make up that you're missing. So contact me with email, and we'll work it out. We'll figure out how, you know, how I want to see it, and we'll get you that credit that you're missing. But if you're already 100% complete, you're 100% complete. Way to go. You just got 10% or 12% or 14, whatever that counts on your homework grade to be done with. So that's pretty cool. Okay, exams. You know, we were going to have an exam between, I think we were supposed to have 3 exams this semester. You've already had one. You know, I looked at the schedule trying to figure out how I could do it, and it just didn't make any sense. So we'll have one final exam on the last night, but we won't have one in between there. So, you know, doing the homework is optional, but that's how you're going to learn the material for the next exam. So far, keep your fingers crossed, I've not heard that we have to give the department common final exam. I'm preparing you as if we are, and if we aren't, even better, then I'll give you my exam, and you guys will be much happier. Now, the way that we'll do the exam is I will set it on D2L, and I'll email it to you through D2L as well. So it'll be in the announcements, and it'll be an email. And then you can print it out, or you can just have it on screen and have a separate piece of paper that you work on to do the exam. And then when it's time to turn it in, you either scan it in if you've got a scanner or something. There's an app somebody told me about too. I have to check that one out, so I'll get back to you on that one. Or you could just take pictures of it with your phone, like page by page, and then send it to me. And I'll post it by like 7 p.m. and I want it back by 2 a.m. So as long as it's in my inbox by 2 a.m., it counts. That's how I figure it works. It's a decent way to do it. There's some online kind of test taking things, but in my exploration of those, one of the things I didn't like is if you put something slightly wrong down, like if it says, x equals, it has x equals, and you put down x equals 4, and the answer is 4, it gives you a wrong answer because it says, well, you put x equals 4. And it's like, well, because they gave you the x equals 4. I don't like that part of it. And so, because there's no real gray area on a lot of those online kinds of tests. So this way I still get to grade it. You can still do your work. I still get to look at your work and say, all right, yeah, you just missed a little thing. And I can give you as many points as possible for each part of that. Because I still care about your progress, and I still want to prepare you for whatever's coming next in your mathematical careers, whether that's Allison, I know, is preparing for a test at some point, or whatever that may be, a future class, statistics or whatever. I want to make sure you're prepared and ready to go. So that's what I consider my job certainly to be. Grades aside, I want you to be prepared for stuff. So. All right. So resources wise, you've gotten the Zoom, at least everybody here has, obviously, because you're on the call. You have my YouTube channel. Again, the videos get posted at 8 p.m. tonight for this class. Feel free to go there after that. So they're fairly short and bite sized. I try to do it by example. So what you're going to see is the very first thing is going to be a slide that basically says, here's what I'm doing. So you can open up your book, I'm doing, section 3.4, example 1, for instance. It's going to go through me writing on the screen. So you'll hear my voice. You'll see me write just like I would write on a whiteboard. And then at the end, I tell you which homework to do. So all the homework that I've published, just don't worry about it. I want you to worry about homework I give you on the end of the video. So if you're like, hey, I know this, then you can skip to the end of the video and just see what the homework assignment is. All right. So you're not forced to watch the video per se, but the homework is on there at the end. So, and I've tried to boil the homework down to a few problems that I think are really indicative of what the lecture is trying to get to you and show you. And, a couple times there's some even ones on there too, just to kind of give you a little bit of a challenge, because sometimes the odds aren't enough. But I've tried to limit the evens so far to make sure that there's not like a ton of evens, because you don't get the answers to those in the back of your book. And I want you to have that feedback still. I want you to be able to try a problem, go to the back of your book and say, did I get this right or wrong? And if you get it wrong, try it again. And if you still get it wrong, that's the one to circle in our next Q&A bring up. Because next week when we start the Q&A, we're going to say, all right, what questions did you have about the homework that I assigned or any of the homework problems? And then I'll do those on screen here for you so that you can get something for it. I am trying to record these lectures, or these Q&As anyway. So these will also get posted on my YouTube channel so that you have it. So for some reason you miss it, or when we do some problems, if you're like, well, I really want to watch that again, you can. Because I know somebody like Danielle is going to watch it like 50 times. So Danielle, I know you're going to give me a lot of hits, and I certainly appreciate that. But as many times as you need to watch it, anybody, watch it. Now, David, this might warp your son there, so maybe not give it to him. No, I'm just kidding. It's kid friendly. I try to not do anything that isn't kid friendly here for that. I was also giving you an online calculator if you need that. Most of you have your own calculators, and that's fine. Continue to use whatever calculators you have. I have my calculator that I still use. But if I have to make an online calculation for you, I will bring up this calculator, which I have on my computer. And it's a pretty decent calculator, at least for a 90-day trial. Certainly don't buy it unless you really want it, I guess. But for 90 days anyway, it's a pretty decent thing. It takes a little bit of time to install, but so far it looks pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with what I've seen with it. For that. So, but again, you don't have to do that if you're happy with your own calculator. But if you see me on screen doing a calculation, and we'll have some of those when we do logarithms and things, I think it's easier to show that, and you want to really follow along, then it certainly doesn't hurt to have that calculator so you can do that. All right, so here's our schedule, right? That's the second part of this thing that we're talking about here. So tonight we're just talking about the plans and questions and your concerns and making sure that you're all ready to go. Certainly, if you had any questions about the last time we met, I'll be happy to answer those in whatever time is left. These Zoom sessions were sort of limited to 40 minutes because we get it for free. So we can go to 8:10 or so, somewhere around there before they kick us off. But then the videos get posted. I expect you to watch the videos, try some homework, and then we'll have next week we'll have Q&A, and then we'll new videos will get posted, so forth and so on. So kind of that's the plan throughout there. I want you to notice that the last week I have the time, instead of meeting at 7:30, meeting at 6:30. just because I'd like you to get started on that last test and give you a lot more time to work it than, normal nights here. So,
Professor.
Yes.
I think I missed 3.2 and 3.3.
Yep.
Are you gonna post any videos, or
Nope.
did I have to figure out myself?
No. The big thing was always try the homework first that was
Okay.
assigned. And then if that doesn't take, contact me and we'll figure something out. So,
Okay.
Did you guys meet last Friday and I missed it? Is that what happened?
no, we did not meet last Friday. Last Friday was actually part of spring break. The Friday before that was we actually got off because we were trying to figure out plans for how to take everything online. So we haven't met in a couple weeks.
But I had surgery.
Oh, that's what she means. She missed
Yes.
it. Okay.
She looks good, though. Obviously, you came through with flying colors. That's the important part of that. At least that's what we hope anyway.
The good thing is that I'm alive.
Yes, that's always a good thing. Everyone on this call is alive. That's a good thing, too. This stuff is, more serious, I think, than we thought. And, I think you have to be careful and protect yourself. So I still think it's not Ebola, but it is fairly serious. People are dying of it. And, whether I think the thing I've seen that has really gotten to me is people who say, well, I got it, I'll recover. And I get that. And I'm happy for you. But I don't think anybody wants to give it to somebody who can't recover from it. And I think that's the important part, this of self-quarantining ourselves and trying to do this is that even if you did have it and recover, that you're not giving it to somebody else. So that's important. I mean, there's, certainly older people that are high risk, and people with underlying conditions are at risk too. I mean, I will tell you, I think I've admitted this before, but I do have diabetes and I have asthma. And so those are in the high risk categories if you get it. So, I haven't been out of the house in 3 weeks now. And not past my driveway anyway. I've taken the garbage out and back, but generally speaking, I've gone nowhere. So I guess I'll be right here forevermore. Let's hope it passes and we all get back to normal at some point, and we find, if not a cure, at least a way to mitigate the circumstances around it. So that's, I think, what we can all hope for, and send good thoughts out to those people that are working the front lines on that.
Yeah.
All right, so questions about the plan at all? Nobody's got questions about the plan. All right. Questions about anything that we covered the last class that you're dying to know about?
The whole class.
All right. Well, that does bring up something else. I mean, and especially in deference to Liza there, who wasn't there at the last class. And I know, David, I don't think you were there either, for good reason. So sitting right next to you there, that good reason. But if you have other questions, let me know, email me something, we can utilize these Zoom sessions for
Just
sort of
few
one-on-one.
question.
Yes.
Can I ask? This is the first day for presentation?
I don't understand your question. Can you try that again?
This is first day. I missed last week.
Well, all of us missed last week. We didn't have class last week.
We have no.
This is our first class back.
All right, that's fine. Just
Okay. Nobody, yes, unless you missed a couple weeks ago, we haven't met for 2 weeks. Then you definitely missed something. But the best thing to always do is try the homework first, because sometimes some of the stuff isn't as bad as you think. And then if you don't get it, let me know and we'll figure something out. I mean, online tutoring is also available too through the tutoring center. I think they have published stuff online on the CCA stuff, but if you can't find it, let me know. I think I have a way to, or somebody sent me to email to me, and I should be able to find it and pass it back on to you. But I think it's out there. But the important thing is I still want you to get it. I mean, that's, like I said, grades aside, I still want you to get it. Here's the thing. I think everybody in here today, nobody's going to get less than a C. Everybody's grade is started C or better, and I certainly expect it to finish C or better. I don't see anybody failing this class unless you decide not to take the final exam, and hopefully nobody would be in that boat. But the thing is, this is a different learning style than we're all used to, and we've got to try our best to get used to it. But there's options there too. If for some reason you're like, this isn't going to work for me, I really need to have somebody, face to face and to be in a classroom. The good news is we still have a few weeks before you have to drop this class so you don't get an F in it. And give it a try for a couple of weeks anyway. And again, if you decide at that point you're like, this isn't for me, yes, you've already lost the money aspect of it, but grade wise, you're not going to get an F or something. And again, as long as you stick it out with me, I can't see you getting less than a C at this point, really, anyway. So if you're willing to pass, then you're going to pass. Hopefully everyone's going to do better than that. I mean, the first test was really good, and I was really happy with everyone's progress. So I don't see why that can't continue, especially with just one more test there. And I will grade that test with a slight grain of salt because I know, it's a little different than what we're used to. But I will give you lots of hours to work on it. Hopefully, quote, by yourself to do that. But what happens when I can't see, I guess this happens when I can't see. So long as I guess I don't know about it. But you never heard that from me. No, I mean, be ethical, work on it yourself. That would be the important thing. But again, I'll grade it not quite as harshly as I would grade something normally, just because I know everything's a little different now. Okay, if that makes sense to everybody. All right, let's see here. All right, good. All right, no, the final exam is not cumulative. So, as far as I know, anyway, Marwa, that was your question. Unless I'm told that I have to give that final exam, but so far I haven't been told to give that, and I'm not asking because I figure if I ask, then they'll tell me. So I'm just keeping it on the DL, and that way I figure oh God, this is being recorded too. Yeah, I got no plausible deniability. All right, so nobody say anything. Just kidding. All right, I'm willing to take the fall for it, but no, I don't think it should be cumulative. This semester has been too weird for that to happen. So my plan is to give you my test, which will cover pretty much, let's say, starting from tonight. So the last time we had class, that's good information, but there's too many people that miss class for whatever reasons. There's too big a scare things going on. And while we work through some stuff, I don't think it's fair to test you on that same stuff. So consider tonight to be the first night that the next test will start on, at least the stuff that you do here. So our next test will start from section 3.4 and get through whatever we get through. So that is the plan for that. It was a good question to make sure that you got that information. So I certainly appreciate that. So there were some questions. All right. Any other questions that you want to talk about?
So this is Blue. According to the schedule, the coming test is going to August. No, May 8th.
Yes.
So after that, we don't have any test.
No, we don't have any more classes. That's the last night of class.
Okay. So we are expecting only one test.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I just didn't think it was fair to test you in between there. There's a certain amount of material that I want to cover that, again, just to make sure you're prepared for whatever comes next for you. And I think that this gives us that minimum set to cover so that, should you go on to statistics or calculus or taking graduate level tests or whatever that holds for you, that you're ready and prepared for it. At least that's what I consider my job to be, is preparation. I want to prepare you for whatever comes next, at least to the best of my abilities. Does that work for you, Blue?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, perfect. And obviously you got on the Zoom. I was a little concerned for you. You sent me an email, but yeah, I try not to open it up until 7:30 because, again, we only get 40 minutes. And if the first person gets into the room, the clock starts. That happened to me on Wednesday night. I didn't realize that. By the time I got into the room, we had like 20 minutes, and it was a kind of a rush to the end to get there. So I do want to make sure we have maximum amount of time once I start the clock, kind of speaking. So, the same thing will be here, just won't be open until, 7:30-ish. But feel free. There's a waiting room. You can get in the waiting room. As soon as I get on, I can admit you from the waiting room to the actual class. So.
One more thing. I saw the couple of video on the attachment. It's the same thing what you do for us too?
Well, their videos so far from my other class, those are just us recording our Zoom sessions, if you will. But yeah, eventually I'm going to record videos for their class similar to this class. But again, our classes videos don't go live until 8 p.m. tonight. So as long as you can go into YouTube after 8 p.m. in the room I gave you, you should see our videos. They'll be prefaced by Math or MAT121 on them. And the description will say Math121 as well. So I think there's 5-ish videos, 5 or 6 videos for tonight that cover 3, 4 to 4.1 on there. And again, the homework is going to be at the very end of the video. So don't forget to pause if you need to write it down or whatever you need to do for it, because it goes for about 10 seconds at the end to show you what the homework is. So don't be afraid to rewind and pause, or pause as it comes up so you can write down what it is. So I tried to see if I can make it last a little bit longer. It just didn't make sense in the video, I guess. So I guess maybe it's 15 seconds, but it is a limited amount of time that that little cell stays up for it. So.
Mhm.
All right, I'm laughing at David's son who's giving us faces there. So
Mhm. Yeah.
keeping us entertained. Thanks, David. Tell your son that's a great job.
Mhm.
All right, any other questions? All right, so let's leave it at this then. I do care about each one of you. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that everyone appears to be being safe and looking fairly well so far. I'm trying to see if I can get all the participants here. Make sure I have everybody on here. All right.
Okay, so I have a quick question. Are we gonna talk about the homework, like the equation that we haven't?
Like from last time we met? Is that the question?
Yeah, the homework, the 3.2 and the 3.3. Are we gonna do some homework from these ones, or?
Well, we certainly can, Mohammed, but as I mentioned, I'm not going to test you on this stuff. So, I mean, if you're dying to know, certainly we have, 15-ish minutes or so that we could do a problem or two, and you can see how that works. If everybody's nervous to see how the homework side of things is going to work, and we could do that.
Yeah, sure, we can do that, because I really struggle with a couple of them. I tried so many times, but I couldn't figure it out how to do them. So if you can help me with those, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's certainly possible for us to do that. I got to do one thing here. Just give me 1 second. I need to snip the attendance roster real fast, just so I know who is here and everybody gets credit as they should. And then once I'm done with that, I'll bring up the whiteboard and we will do at least a couple of problems anyway. Let's see here. Where's my snip coming? All right. All right, do I have that? It's making sure it shows up. Perfect. Okay, I got that. And then let's go up here. Yeah, let's see here. That starts there. Okay. Let's write that down. All right. So what is your main question, Mohan? What's the big one that's been just driving you batty that you want to see?
Okay, so it's going to be from the homework 3.2, and
Okay.
it's number 9.
3.2, number 9. All right. Let's go ahead and turn there. And let's see here. Let me share screen and share a whiteboard.
3.
All right. Hopefully everyone sees my whiteboard now.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 9. Let's see here. So solve by factoring. All right. So let's see here if we can do this one right. So it was 6x squared. So let's see here. Where's my pen at?
Plus 10x is equals to 4.
6x squared plus 10x equals 4. All right, so step number 1, right, is we want to make this equal 0. So what we're going to do first is we're going to bring this 4 from the right to the left, right? So it's going to say 6x squared plus 10x minus 4 equals 0. All right, next, we could start factoring. There's nothing wrong with that, but when I look at 6 and I look at 10 and I look at 4, they all have something in common that we can factor out and make this smaller. 2, all right? So let's get rid of 2. Let's divide 2 out of everything. So we're going to divide 2, divide 2, divide 2, and of course divide 2. That's going to give us 3x squared It's going to give us 5x, and it's going to give us minus 2 equal to 0 still. And now we should be able to factor because they said factoring. So we go like this, and we go like this, and we say equals 0 still. Now here's the great news. There's only one way to make 3. That would be 3 times 1. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 10 minutes is what I just got told. Okay, perfect. All right, so, whoops. That's going to be an x here, 3x, and just 1x here, right? Because 3 times 1 is 3. And there's only one way to make 2, as in 2 times 1. Now, we can't just make it 2 and 1. We got to make sure we check this out so that we get 5 in the middle. I do think that it's going to be 2 here because 3 times 2 is 6. And 6 is huge because that gets us most of the way to 5. So let's go ahead and put the 2 here and the 1 here because 2 times 1 is 2. So now it's just a matter of getting our signs right. Since this is a minus, that means that one of these is a plus and one of these is a minus. I'm thinking the plus goes here, as in 3 times 2 is going to be plus 6, and then minus 1 times 1 is going to be minus 1, and 6 minus 1 is 5. So I'm pretty sure we factored it correctly. But now, to solve it, because it equals 0, we set each parenthesis equal to 0, as in 3x minus 1 equals 0, and x plus 2.
Plus 2 is equals to 0.
This is the easy one, right? Because we just move the 2 over, and x is negative 2. This one here takes a smidge of work because the 1 has to come over. And then we divide both sides by 3. Make sure that goes all the way there. And that's what the answer is. It's going to be x is a third is one answer, and x is negative 2 is the second answer. So that's how we get 2 answers for that. And that's how we factor to solve it. Does that work for you, Mohammed? That was your question.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, good. What other questions do we have? We got less than 10 minutes now. We might be able to slip 1 or 2 more in. Well, definitely 1, maybe not 2, but 1 for sure. Maybe 2. Who knows?
I have another one, but let's see if somebody else have another question. I'll give a chance to somebody else to bring up a question.
Good. Okay.
Do we count to 3 or something?
Yeah, okay. 1, 2. All right, well, what's your next question since you're the only
All right, it's from the same section. It's
Okay.
37.
37. All right, let's take a look at 37 here. Complete the square to solve. All right, so fun this here. You had to ask the one question that's definitely going to take us most of the time to do. All right, so I'm going to go. That's all right. I'm going to go ahead and clear this screen so that we have a fresh screen to work on here. All right, so in 37's case, we're completing the square, but we start with x squared, and then let's see, minus 3x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, so that's important. All quadratics solve the same way. You want to make sure they equal 0 first, and this one already does, so that's terrific. So next what we want to do is complete the square, right, is we take the non-x term, in our case this 2, and we actually move it over to where the 0 is at. So step number 2 is x squared minus 3x, leave a space, and bring the 2 over, so now there's negative 2 on the right. Remember, we're leaving a space here because we're going to create a number that goes here that makes a perfect square of this left-hand side. So now we get into the creating of that number, and we take the middle number here, which is 3. Remember, we don't care about the negative part of it, but we take that 3 and we divide it by 2. If we can simplify that, we do so, and if we can't, we can't. So in our case, 3 divided by 2 is 3 divided by 2. But then we take that quantity and we square it. And that's going to give us 3 squared 9 and 2 squared 4. That's going to give us plus 9/4 in the space that we created. And we can't just put it there by itself. We have to also put it on the other side here. Because if we don't, we have an issue. Because otherwise we're unbalanced. Now, putting in the 9/4 here has created the perfect square. And so we know on the left-hand side here, what we're going to have is a parenthesis that's squared. Inside that parenthesis is going to be x because it's x squared. So it's going to be an x right here. We're going to have a minus because it's minus right there. And then whatever was in this parenthesis, and this in our case, 3 over 2, goes right here as in 3 over 2. Equals the negative 2 plus the 9/4 here. Now we need negative 2 to have the same denominator as 9 over 4 for us to be able to add that together here. So as right below here, what we're going to do is we're going to say that we want this negative 2 to basically have a denominator of 4. And to do that, we say, well, what's 4 times 2? That's 8.
It's 8.
So it's going to be negative 8/4 is the same as negative 2. And so we're going to
Plus
have
9.
plus 9/4 still, exactly. And so that's going to give us a grand total of positive 1/4 right there. And so now it's set up for us to solve because now we have a perfect square equals a number. And the way we do that is we take the square root of both sides. And because it was a square, that means on the right-hand side, our answer is going to be plus or minus. Now here's the great news here. The square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of 4 is
2.
2. So this is plus or minus 1/2. Over here, when we take the square root of a square, what we get is whatever inside, x minus 3/2. So then now we take this 3/2 and we shift it over, right? So we're going to have x equals 3/2, as it was negative, now it's positive, plus or minus 1/2. And normally we'd end there, but here's the issue with this one. They both have the same denominator. So we might as well just add them together. So one is going to be 3 plus 1 all over 2. The other one's going to be 3 minus 1 all over 2. So answer 1 says 3 plus 1 over 2. Answer 2 says 3 minus 1 over 2. That's right. This is going to be 3 plus 1, 4, divided by 2, otherwise known as 2. This one here is going to be 2 over 2, as in 3 minus 1 is 2, and 2 over 2
2 over 2 is 1.
is 1. So there's our two answers, positive 2 and positive 1. And we just solved by completing the square. Now, we could have solved it by factoring 2. This was actually factorable, but that's okay. It proves the point that we can solve it by completing the square as the direction said. How's that, Mohammed? You like that one?
Yeah, this one's good too.
All right, good. All right, what time is it? We got like 4 minutes.
Jeff,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Professor. How do you get to the 3 over 4 at the in the third line?
3 over
3 over 2 at the
Whole
second.
square.
Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yes.
3 squared
Yep.
is 9, and 2 is 4. So what we do is we take this middle number,
Uh-huh.
3. Don't worry about the fact that it's negative. We just take 3.
Okay.
We divide it by 2. Always divide by 2.
Okay.
That's how we get to the 3/2, and then it always gets squared. Whatever we got here, sometimes, if it was 4, we would have said 4 over 2 is 2, and then 2 squared is 4 again. But if it's
Okay, so-
fractional, it's fractional.
So whatever number is in the middle then.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, don't worry about it being negative because we square it.
Okay.
So in the end, it's always positive anyway. So the result is always positive no matter what happens.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good? Okay, good. So this is how we'll try to do the Q&A in the future when you have questions. Hopefully everybody's seen the whiteboard. Hopefully that's working for you. I think it's a great way to show everything like we have a whiteboard in class. And, I've got this great pen. I get to write on my little pad and you guys get to see it. So it was a small investment to do because I thought I might be doing this sometime in the future. And it just happened to be that this was now in the future, I guess. So I guess that's okay. So, but hopefully that works. And again, these are recorded too. I think so. I think I set this to record. So I'll have this forevermore. And again, once it's done rendering and things, I will post this up on our YouTube channel too, in case you need to rewatch this part or any part of it in the future. So any Q&A will be posted up there as well. So, all right, folks. So have at the homework. Do your best. Remember, don't do the homework that I assigned previously in the syllabus. Do the homework that's at the end of each video. That will get you where you need to be. And if that's not enough, well, then you can always do more problems. Look in the book and find some problems that are similar for yourself. But I've tried to give you a minimum set to take care of what I think is important on this. And I think in the end, you're going to actually spend a little bit less time doing class stuff than you were actually in class, of all things. So I hope that's the thing, and you still get the same amount out of it. All right, again, I'm here by email. Find me, email D2L, my regular email, whatever it may be. If you need to talk or whatever it is, we'll figure stuff out. I know this is different than previously expected with our face-to-face class, but I'm confident all of you can do this. And, I know you can all do it. So we'll get to.
We don't have to do it for another year.
Yeah, we'll get through this together, I promise. All right, folks. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.